Hello and welcome back. This is the Siberian here with our first episode of the War of Spanish Succession. So what this is a multiplayer kind of roleplay type campaign where different players in our Discord control different nations, and then they will give armies of belonging to that nation orders, and then we will fight them in multiplayer battles. So this is the first battle, the Battle of the Alba, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a cut here and play a little intro, I guess, to this battle. So enjoy. At the outbreak of the War of Spanish Succession, the hastily mustered French Third Army stationed in southern France broke camp and marched east towards the small nation of Savoy. Unbeknownst to them, an allied Spanish army was likewise marching west from Spanish-occupied northern Italy. The two allied armies converged on Turin, the capital of Savoy. The Savosian commanders hastily threw together a force to defend their capital and set up an imposing defensive line along the Alba River. The men of Savoy grimly awaited the Franco-Spanish assault, knowing that only a successful defense here would give their Austrian allies time to reach them. The Battle of the Alba begins. All right. So that's the scenario for this battle. So this is the Alba River here. And so this is the map Casano, which is actually on the Alba River. So this works really well. This is pretty close to where the historical battle would have taken place. And so further this way is the route to Turin. And the Savoy troops, Savosian troops, are moving forward to take up positions. Now there's a 60-minute timer, and the goal is to capture this town hall. So for the Franco-Spanish, so over here we have the Spanish horse artillery, and the French over here, they're running. Wow. Their goal is, within that 60-minute timer, to push across this river. Now that's a really hard goal, but there are two armies versus the one Savoy army. Savoy here has quite a few infantry, some cavalry, a 12-pounder. Pretty good mixed army there. Heading up to the front lines. So yeah, they have 60 minutes to try and take this building. Now, in these battles, you don't have to occupy the building to take it. You just have to have your front line past the building. So as long as the fighting, where like the main fight is happening, is beyond the victory point, then you control it. I don't like the, a unit broke and is able to march back and back cap a point and get the win that way. That seems lame to me. So yes, we will observe the French cavalry. So that's one thing, this French army has a lot of cav in it. I think 5 or 6 units of cav. The Spanish have like 3 or 4. I could pull up the actual army comps, but it's more fun to witness them. Oh, and also I turned off the big UI flags just to get a more cinematic looking battle. So hopefully that's okay. If you guys really don't like it, I'll turn them back on for the next one. And it looks like Savoy will push across the river. I actually didn't watch this battle happen, so this is a fun first for me. Got quite a lot of elite infantry here. Sharpshooters. So a mixture of elite infantry, and then very good range units like these sharpshooters, and then some guard cavalry. The biggest advantage for Savoy is probably that choke point and then the timer, because Spain and France will have to push pretty hard in order to get there in a reasonable amount of time. It looks like they got some accidental friendly fire casualties there. Some French sharpshooters have made it to the hill, and the French troops are still running full speed. And that 6-pounder, I think, is just firing blindly at this area. Oh. Did a guy get hit? I don't even think a guy got hit. Somebody was screaming like they got killed. So we have the Spanish, and I believe the Spanish army is commanded by Raphael, who is the Raphael is actually the French commander, but we were having trouble getting all the people to play in that day, so he took over the Spanish army, which is a lot larger. And then Marshal Rex, I think was the name. We'll see it on the end screen, and I think that's his Discord name. But he is taking over the French, who are moving forward, looking very wonderful. And there you can see the bell tower in the distance. That's actually pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, I really like that. Let's zoom in. Look at that. That's a lot of fun. Wonder if let's go like this. Think that's screenshot worthy? Maybe. See if I can time it. Oh. Thought that one was firing. Well, we'll take a screenshot. Oh, this one's almost ready. Well, we'll see what I got. Meanwhile, okay, so Savoy is actually pushing all their forces just about across the bridge, and moving fairly aggressively. Now we're spotting some Spanish Lancer Guard here. That's pretty dangerous because these guys are strung out with the buggy pathfinding that is Empire. So they wouldn't be able to really fire until the whole unit is ready. That's one kind of irritating thing about Empire is if a unit gets strung out like this, it won't be very effective until the whole unit is back together. And that also reduces your cohesion, so you can see that one. But there was one that was just cohesion good because all those troops got strung out. Ooh, no, I thought there was more cav there, but that's just a field. Spanish artillery continuing to pound the Savosian positions here. So the casualties from this battle will impact the army sizes on the campaign map too. Oh, there is more Lancer Guards. Scary. So even if you win, if you lose a ton of troops, you will possibly get your faction worn down. And the minor faction, which is all of the minor nations like Saxony and Prussia is technically a minor in this, and Savoy, they don't have much reserves when it comes to manpower. Oh, and it looks like we're getting a charge. Ooh, they're getting shot. Let's see if they can pull off a decent charge here through the forest. Here they come. Coming out of the tree line. Ooh, getting some friendly fire. He was not prepared. Into the disorganized lines. Oh man. That's not the kind of losses that Savoy can afford, as they're already starting this battle pretty significantly outnumbered. The Lancer is now taking decent losses because they're stuck in melee. Oh, and he charges in all those troops just trying to break them. Oh, and they do. So they break, even shatter, but that cost 10 units there, 10 units there, 13 units there, 10 units there. So they did kill quite a few, and disrupt this whole formation as well, which is a big plus for that side. Oh, there's another Spanish cav, heavy cav here. These guys are so imposing. Look at that. They got like a full-on knight's armor. Oh, and more Lancer guards. So they had at least 4 cav units. No, maybe 3, because we saw one earlier. French cav and sharpshooters is also pushing up. As, man, Savoy just not wanting to sit back and play too defensive. He's crossed the river. Got some elite light infantry here in reserve. Those guys are pretty good. Still got those 2 Spanish cav, and now we're seeing the Spanish infantry. So part of the scenario was the Spanish army has to bring, I think, 6 of these Spanish Italian infantry. They can't get a ton of elite, or the same number of elite troops as Savoy can for this. Looking very nice. Ooh. They didn't get any kills with their 12-pounders, but it was close. Very close. Another, oh, that's the French. How do you say that? Carbineer? They use carbines. It looks like they have cuirasses, though. I don't know. Who knows? Ooh. May have gotten a friendly fire artillery hit there. I don't know. Sharpshooters opening fire and dropping a number of these guards, these French guard troops. Although these skirmishers return fire. Yeah, and they're getting pretty good hits as well. And so the Savoy is pulling back, separating his forces around the fort. This fort is kind of buggy, which is a bummer. Your troops have a hard time occupying these things because their numbers are so large, so it's not as advantageous as one would have thought. But alright, and the Spanish infantry is pushing forward very hard. Now this is a good idea if you think you can overwhelm this side, particularly like this flank to me looks very open. I think, Lancer Guard and then Cuirassier up this way at the same time, and take all these reserves and rush them here and try and trap the Savoy army on that side of the river. Because though they have this as a choke point for their defense, they've gone past it. So now to withdraw any of these troops, they have to march them all the way around and through there. So if you can cut through right here, oh, and maybe he's trying to do that. Here we got some Lancers. But if you can cut through and seal off that, you have this whole army trapped. And with superior numbers, you'll just crush a full army. Now, these guard do form square. Oh, and the Lancers go for the sharpshooters. Getting a few kills on these Marines as well. Further up the hill, the sharpshooters are firing down. And the Lancer Guard do shatter. They got a decent amount of kills, and they broke that sharpshooter regiment, so that's good, but probably not the best use they could have gone. If they went together with the cuirassiers, I think they could have devastated this flank. And I think Savoy is recognized. Savoy is controlled by Dan. I think he's recognizing the danger of this region, starting to withdraw some infantry. It's good to have a decent reserve back there. Oh, it looks like the cuirassier punched forward. I'm sorry, I missed that. Did some damage there, but didn't fully commit. Now these guys are still trying. That's a dangerous move here, turning your back and shifting in the face of the enemy. Might have left these two here and let these ones shift behind it, because, oh no, I thought they were charging. And that's the perfect example of when a good charge could stop all this from moving, pin these units with your infantry. Oh, now they're charging, and Savoy, I think, here is in full retreat mode. Ooh, and those Marines get trampled by the heavy cuirassier. And Savoy sends in their, what are these? Guard cavalry, who may be able to hold off that cuirassier. It looks like they will. Wavering. Lost 2 troops, and these guys have lost a lot on the square and I think a previous charge. Hopefully these aren't on fire at will. Yeah, they're gonna get a couple of friendly fire kills. It looks like Savoy is attempting to extricate their troops from this side of the river. A lot of guys still over here. 3 Marine units, a couple of sharpshooters, and these elite lights are all over on that flank. They do have their cav still, which could be invaluable. They've also used 20 minutes about of the timer. So I guess that's one advantage of having your troops out there, is you slow down the momentum of the advancing Spanish. Now the French, I think, are taking this flank. Yeah. So we had the French here and the Spanish here. I wonder where all that French cav is. Spanish infantry running forward. Bold move, because you'll make your cohesion pretty low. But these are some thick lines. I think they're just going for the overwhelming numbers tactics. Nice sharpshooter placement on the bank, able to get some flanking shots on these Spanish Italian infantry with the purple, I don't know, what are those called? Wrist thingies? Cuffs, there we go. Cuffs. And Man, these Swiss regiments here are holding off, allowing all these guys to withdraw. And so that's the advantage. So it looks like they're trying to charge now. If they had been just a hair quicker, these troops wouldn't have been able to escape. That would have been a huge difference. Now there are still some guard and sharpshooters that could make it across, but we'll see. If it's looking like the Spanish are not gonna go for that. They're gonna push full speed ahead. Yeah, oh my goodness, look at the weight of those Spanish lines crashing in. The Swiss are very elite troops, so we'll see if they can hold, but it looks like, oh, if the French could pressure here, that would be the perfect time. Collapse and just shrink this pocket. Now they did escape 3 Marines, a light infantry, guard, and Marine, a very wounded Marine there, Field Marshal, some Guard Grenadiers. So they still have a decently intact force and are sitting on a very nice choke point to hold. It looks like they're going to pull all the way back, not try and hold this first one. Might have been worth putting 1 or 2 line infantry here to hold this, because you have such a nice position with these sharpshooters. Looks like he's trying to pull the sharpshooters through, but they're just getting caught in the melee. Oh, we have a bit of a breakage from the Spanish infantry. I think numbers will win the day eventually. Some guard here moving up. Oh, and that is a mass of French cavalry moving forward, and the French are now pushing hard. Once again, running troops. I don't know if I would do that, but if they're already on chaos cohesion, then maybe it's worth it. Oh man, there's weakness in these Spanish lines. Oh, but they just never end. Look at all these troops. It's gonna be an expensive victory. If the Spanish can pull it off, it will have cost them heavily. Oh, and we see some weakness here on the Savoys. They held until they had 50 men, but they are now breaking, and Brussels, or the Spanish troops from up north in Brussels, are trying to seal the bridge off. See, this is exactly the kind of move they could have done just a little bit earlier and captured all 3. Oh, and they're moving those forward again. Could have captured all of this in there as well. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's easy for me to commentate not having to do the battle. Ooh, some Savoy Guard cavalry gets into the sharpshooters. Sharpshooters are, oh, and oh, the guard cavalry break, and probably from these cuirassiers. And now it's really, oh, they're moving 3 lines forward. Look at that. Now this is an interesting thing, because the Spanish are holding and now shattering all these troops here, but they've allowed all these guys to return and now may get shot in the back as they finish up this fight. Interesting little positive versus negative moment. All right. Ooh, good volley there. See the return volley as they oh. Look at that. The Spanish, no regard for safety, are in full charging mode. Full speed ahead. Ooh, and they're trying to withdraw, and they... Oh no, who broke? I saw somebody broke. A lot of wavering. Broken. Oh, and this is dangerous here. 2 of the Marine units from Savoy break, along with all their sharpshooters, and what's a couple of small guard units. Ooh, some friendly fire from canister, but if the canister can slow these guys down, they might. I think they have some reserves. Yeah, they have a couple of reserves still. They're light infantry. Oh my goodness. Yep, they're putting their light infantry in the building. And the Spanish do not stop for nothing. Going for it. Watch it from Savoy's. Oh my goodness. Absolute brutality. But they closed the gap, and they have engaged the Marines there. That's a shattered unit. At least one shattered unit there. Ooh, some canister getting into the flank, and yeah, that's gonna be painful for these guys. Meanwhile, the light infantry is skirmishing from the house. Ooh, and they do have another elite light infantry here. Oh, and it's going to move forward. And guard grenadiers in reserve. I think they can handle that, but this is the issue. Ooh, the French sharpshooters are going to get some friendly fire. But we have more Spanish Marines, more Spanish lines, more Spanish infantry, and that's not regarding the French cav and infantry somewhere back here still. So the fact that Spain and France have actually managed to get across this bridge is pretty impressive, because they got 12-pounder grape shot coming in on the flank, getting shot from here, but they're just piling in the numbers. Oof, grape shot just ripping into the lines there. But they're kind of, there's so many troops that they don't have room to form up, and it's kind of causing a backlog. France is moving sharpshooters to snipe these crews. That's a good idea. Now let's look at Savoy. Do they have any reserves over here? All those guys have shattered. Oh, some sharpshooters have recovered. They have one more unit of sharpshooters. Their field marshal. These light infantry, which actually are pretty decent. They're elites, the most expensive unit Savoy has, I believe, or one of them. So they do decent in melee, but just look at the numbers. Oh my goodness, France is now in the fight. Oh my gosh. I'm actually like lagging, even though this is just a 2v1. In fact, it might even be worth... Oh no, there we go. Look it, they're going for the building now. Yep, going into the building. Now, if a canister shot hits now, that would be devastating. They may take the building. Ooh, canister. Right down here. Ooh, yeah, some more canister. Ooh, there's a breakage. Alright. French Grenadiers. Did I see Voltigeurs? They sent in their Voltigeurs. That might have caused the chain rout. They killed a few of them, but the Savoyans hold on, at least in the building. There's still a huge press of Spanish troops there. More Spanish troops lining up. Cannon crews are now getting shot at. Let's see how they respond. I imagine they'll canister. They're still canistering this group. And these sharpshooters are so fatigued or in chaos cohesion that they may not get too many hits. Spain is now breaking, holding on with just a few squares of line, which doesn't do them any good against. They'd be better off getting a charge bonus by charging their troops in. Oh, which they probably do, but they got canister to the side. Oh, these guys just take canister shot. Just look at the casualties here from the canister. You know that's all canister rounds landing. They are starting to pick off a few of those artillery crews, though, and if that artillery goes down, I think that's game over. Alright, the Marines are trying to pull back, and the Guard Grenadiers. Oh, they broke another one. There's one or two more units there, and man. Okay, some of these have recovered, the French units, so France is not out of the game yet. And just over half the time has expired, so still a lot that can go into this, but oof. There's some brutal canister on these sharpshooters who are pretty close. Yeah, that one's gonna break, that one's also gonna break. Oh, and the reformed sharpshooters, looks like they made their way right there. Just look at this bridge. Oop. My goodness. The ground is just littered with bodies. Absolute carnage. Even if Spain and France win this, they are going to be very bloodied. Now I will say I've factored in for the campaign, the number of kills that happen in game is not correlate exactly to the number of kills in campaign, because in real life there's wounded, there's the people who ran away during the fight who reform. So I made it a percentage of the casualties inflicted that is the actual losses in campaign. So it'll still be a pretty, whatever happens, it's a lot of losses for both sides, to be fair. The Savoyan troops lost a lot right in this pocket, though they killed more Spanish than they lost. And there's still some hefty French cav units. Now I don't think anybody realized this, but there is a small crossing point right here and right here. I don't know how much that would help, but I feel like the French army could have probably marched that way and then surprised these artillery while the Spanish were charging in, and maybe shot the guys off their gun crews. There's a chance, because really, this was won by the canister shot onto this flank. I think if that cannon had not been placed there, which Dan did a great job of lining this up, because that's a deadly emplacement. But if it gets taken out, this is over. For sure. There, even after all those losses, there's still a number of French troops there. I'm sure some of these Spanish troops are recovering and will reform and then go invisible. There's also horse artillery. Oh, make that accurate. Which it looks like is limbering up, probably to get a closer shot on the enemy. And I think there was one other horse artillery of the French. Not sure where it is, but I think they had a 6-pounder as well. I don't know what it is about this shot right here, but I really love it. Town in the distance, wheat field. It's really cool to me. Alright, so we have a bit of a lull as everybody reforms. Perhaps I'll make a quick cut and we'll be back when the Franco-Spanish alliance makes another move. Well, we'll listen to all these artillery shots. Alright, so we are reaching the 10-minute mark. That meaning, by that I mean there's 10 minutes left, and it looks like we see some French guard moving forward. Ooh, getting canister right over the hilltop and everything. Don't know if these guys are going to be able to make it. Ooh, another volley into them. Ooh, canister. And the French break and fall back, so Spain moved forward their horse artillery. They did suffer a loss as they were moving them right there, but nothing too bad. And France's artillery here is now, I believe, bombarding this town hall because the damage is going up on that. Trying to destroy it so the units inside can't use it. And there is a French shift of cavalry over to this side, so expecting a final charge. Oh, these guys reformed. I don't think I think it's Diego is the French player. I don't think he's aware because they're getting shot by the everybody. Oh, now they're charging. These are some brave fools. My goodness. Oh. They've made it further than I thought they would. But they are wavering. Looks like they might have been trying to get to the artillery, but they are shot down. Looks like the artillery duel has been to little effect, but I'm hearing charging. That is the French cav. Now hopefully he has these on, he's turned off fire at will, because that will mean, if not, they will shoot each other. I can't change that. That's just an Empire thing. So, oh, and there they go. That's what I'm talking about. It's super annoying. But that puts this unit down to 55. And canister shot. They're getting caught up on their own troops. Yikes, this is not good for the French. Because if they get a successful charge across, they will win this. They will crush this tiny little bits of infantry and wipe out that cannon, and then they'll be good. Oh, but the canister is just tearing into these guys. Oh, and they shatter. They did break that regiment, so. But no, it looks like they're shattering, breaking. That's just kind of, I think, poor timing by the French. If the French had waited for that unit that broke to get out of the way, led off with the light cavalry that held its fire until the last minute, charged in cuirassier, I don't know, it might have been possible, but as it is, they get wiped out by canister. And now this Spanish, they need to just stop. Just hold your ground, accept your losses. You're not going to be able to take the capital after this battle. There's no way. But will they listen to me? No. They did damage the town hall. Probably got a couple kills there. But you're in canister range. I just don't know if it's worth it. Yeah. And there they go, breaking. Adding more bodies to the bridge. Man. A disaster of a battle so far for the French and Spanish. Now, they could still pull it off and get the win. I don't know if they'd be able to beat Savoy again at their capital at this point, but they could at least get a bit of a victory. I just don't know if they have any reserves. I think they've used up all their troops, and there's just 5 minutes remaining. So I'm gonna keep you with us keep you with me as I fast forward, and just see if there's any last attempt. Probably not wise to make any more attempts. I would just let the clock expire. Get as many kills with artillery as you can, and take the loss. Oh, but no. Looks like we got some. Oh. Grenadiers à cheval de la garde. I don't know. French words, which receive a face full of canister immediately. They're not gonna make. Oh man, they make it barely halfway. Man, he's charging forward his horse artillery with the final 3 minutes. Not sure where those guys are going, but they're in danger of getting wiped out by this artillery. Where did I hear? Oh, these guys are shooting. Looks like so far the horse artillery has survived. Lucky them. So there are some French guard that they're holding back so that the French can simply still have an army at the end of this. I don't know how much of an army Spain will have. Goodness. What an absolute bloodbath. Let's see if I can get a cool shot with this over this guy's shoulder. Whoa, there we go. That would have been cool. Alright, and 1.5 minutes left. We did set up the horse artillery in an interesting formation. Don't know what they're gonna shoot at, but I'm gonna try and knock down the house maybe, or the town hall. I don't think they can. Before the time expires, we've got just 1 minute left, so we'll fast forward that. But I think that is a pretty strong, if Pyrrhic, slightly Pyrrhic, Savoyan victory. I thought Spain would have had it. Spain and France, when they pushed so hard, right down the bridge, so aggressive. Yeah, the French army though wasn't too huge, just about 2,000 troops, 37, so 57 troops, 5,700 troops versus 32. So Savoy wasn't, and this is Dan the Mantis who actually played. Savoy wasn't as terribly outnumbered as I thought. Oh, look at those canister kills! Oh my goodness. Only losing 4 guys to those sharpshooters. What a stunning Savoyan victory. Despite some setbacks early on, Dan recovered and brought the Savosians, I think that's the correct way to say it, a victory, a much needed victory on the home territory. So this is the first episode. If you guys are interested in the campaign, we'll be continuing to do battles and receiving orders for it. You can hop in the Discord to get kind of a news format update on it as it goes on, and you can berate different commanders, or if you want, being like, you did so bad or you did so good, whatever you want to do. But if you want to participate, we'll run another one of these once this campaign ends, because it's good fun. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one. Bye.